The morning sun filtered through the kitchen window as Kate stirred her coffee, lost in thought. She had been married to William for 8 years, and lately something felt different. He came home later from work, spoke less during dinner, and always seemed to be checking his phone. When she asked about his day, his answers were short and distant. William walked into the kitchen, already dressed in his best suit. Kate noticed he was wearing the cologne she had bought him for their anniversary, the one he usually saved for special occasions. "You look nice today," she said, trying to keep her voice light. "Any important meetings?" "Just the usual stuff," William replied without looking at her. He grabbed his coffee mug and phone from the counter. Kate watched as his fingers moved, quickly across the screen, typing something. A small smile appeared on his face as he read whatever response came back. "Who are you texting so early?" Kate asked, walking closer to him. William quickly put his phone in his pocket. "Just work stuff. Dave needs some files." His voice was casual, but Kate noticed the way his shoulders tensed when she approached. After William left for work, Kate couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. She tried to focus on her own job as a teacher, but her mind kept wandering. During lunch break, she called her sister Emma. "I think something's going on with William," Kate said quietly into the phone. "What kind of something?" Emma asked, concern clear in her voice. Kate told her about the late nights, the secretive phone calls, and how distant William had become. "Maybe I'm just being paranoid," she said, but even as she spoke the words, she didn't believe them. "Trust? Your instincts, Kate. You know William better than anyone," Emma said. "Have you tried talking to him directly?" "Every time I bring up anything serious, he changes the subject or says he's too tired," Kate replied. "It's like he's avoiding me in our own house." That evening, Kate decided to make William's favorite dinner. She spent extra time setting the table with candles and their good dishes. When William came home, he seemed surprised by the effort. "What's the occasion?" he asked, loosening his tie. "No occasion. I just wanted to do something nice for us," Kate said, watching his face carefully. During dinner, Kate tried to start meaningful conversations, but William's responses were polite but distant. His phone buzzed several times, and each time it did, his eyes would dart toward it. Finally, Kate couldn't take it anymore. "William, can we please just have one dinner without your phone?" she asked. He looked up, seeming genuinely surprised by her tone. "Sorry, it might be important." "More important than spending time with your wife?" The words came out sharper than Kate intended. William set down his fork and looked at her for the first time all evening. For a moment, Kate thought he might open up, might tell her what was really going on. But then his expression closed off again. "You're being dramatic, Kate. It's just work." That night, as they lay in bed, Kate stared at the ceiling while William scrolled through his phone beside her. The light from the screen cast strange shadows on the wall, and Kate felt more alone than she had ever felt in their marriage. She closed her eyes and tried to remember the last time William had really looked at her, really seen her. The last time he had asked about her day and actually listened to the answer. The last time he had reached for her hand or pulled her close without her initiating it first. The question swirled in her mind as she finally drifted off to sleep, unaware that tomorrow would bring answers she never wanted to find. The next morning, Kate woke up to an empty bed. She could hear the shower running and William humming softly, something he hadn't done in months. When he emerged from the bathroom, he was already getting dressed in another nice shirt. "You're up early again," Kate observed, sitting up in bed. "Yeah, I want to get to the office before everyone else arrives," William said, but he avoided her eyes as he spoke. Kate noticed him checking his reflection in the mirror longer than usual, adjusting his hair and straightening his collar. "Will you be home for dinner tonight?" "Probably not. We have a big project deadline coming up," William replied, grabbing his wallet and keys. He gave her a quick kiss on the forehead, the kind of absent-minded gesture that felt more like habit than affection. After he left, Kate sat in the quiet house feeling more confused than ever. Something about William's behavior felt off, but she couldn't put her finger on exactly what it was. She decided to surprise him at work with lunch, something she used to do when they were first married. At noon, Kate drove to William's office building carrying his favorite sandwich from the deli down the street. She walked into the lobby and took the elevator to the 15th floor where William worked as a marketing manager. "Hi, Mrs. Harrison," said Janet, the receptionist. "Are you here to see William?" "Yes, I brought him lunch," Kate said, holding up the paper bag. Janet looked confused. "Oh, but William isn't here today. He called in sick this morning." Kate felt her stomach drop. Sick? But he'd left for work this morning like usual. "Maybe he went home after calling in," Janet suggested helpfully. "Sometimes people feel better later in the day." Kate managed to smile and thank Janet, but her mind was racing as she walked back to her car. Where was William if he wasn't at work? Why had he lied to her about where he was going? She drove home slowly, trying to think of reasonable explanations. Maybe he had gone to the doctor. Maybe he was planning a surprise for her and needed time to organize it. Maybe he was helping a friend with something and didn't want to worry her, but deep down, Kate knew these explanations didn't feel right. The secretive phone calls, the nice clothes, the cologne, the lies about work, they all pointed to something Kate didn't want to admit to herself. When she got home, she called William's phone. It went straight to voicemail. She tried again, an hour later with the same result. By 3 o'clock, Kate was pacing around the house, her imagination running wild. She found herself standing in their bedroom, looking at William's dresser. She had never gone through his things before, they had always trusted each other completely. But now, with her heart pounding, she opened his top drawer. Everything looked normal at first. His watches, cufflinks, and spare change were in their usual spots, but then she noticed a small receipt tucked under his watch box. She picked it up with shaking hands. It was from an expensive restaurant across town, dated 2 days ago. The receipt showed dinner for 2, with champagne and dessert. Kate stared at it, trying to make sense of what she was seeing. William had told her he worked late that night and grabbed a quick burger on his way home. The receipt slipped from her fingers as she sat down heavily on the bed. All the puzzle pieces were starting to form a picture she didn't want to see. The lies, the secrecy, the way he had been dressing up for work, the restaurant receipt for a romantic dinner he had never mentioned. Kate's phone rang, startling her from her thoughts. It was William. "Hey, honey, how was your day?" His voice sounded normal, casual. "It was fine," Kate managed to say, her voice barely steady. "How are you feeling?" "Feeling?" William sounded confused. "Janet at your office said you called in sick today." There was a long pause on the other end of the line. Kate could hear traffic in the background and what sounded like music from a restaurant or cafe. "Oh, right. I felt better after lunch, so I decided to run some errands," William said finally. "I didn't want to go into the office and get everyone else sick." Kate closed her eyes, knowing he was lying to her again. "What kind of errands?" "Just boring stuff. Dry cleaning, grocery store, you know." His voice sounded strained now. "Listen, I might be a little late tonight. I'm meeting Dave for drinks to discuss the project I mentioned." "Okay," Kate said quietly. After they hung up, Kate sat in their bedroom holding the restaurant receipt, finally admitting to herself what she had been trying to ignore for weeks. Her husband was lying to her about where he was going, who he was, with, and what he was doing. And tomorrow, she decided, she was going to find out the truth. Kate barely slept that night. She lay in bed listening to William's steady breathing, studying his face in the dim light from the street lamp outside their window. This was the man she had fallen in love with 9 years ago, the man who had promised to love and cherish her always. How had they gotten to this point? The next morning, William went through his usual routine. Nice clothes, cologne, and that same distracted energy that had become so familiar. After he left, Kate called in sick to work. She couldn't concentrate on teaching third graders when her marriage might be falling apart. She spent the morning cleaning the house, trying to keep her hands busy while her mind raced. Around 11, she made a decision that scared her. She was going to follow William. Kate drove to his office building and parked across the street where she could see the entrance. She felt foolish sitting there like a private detective, but she needed to know the truth. At 11:30, she saw William's car pull into the parking garage, so he had gone to work today. Kate felt a small wave of relief. Maybe she had been wrong about everything. Maybe there was a simple explanation for all the strange behavior. But at 12:15, she watched William walk out of the building. He looked around carefully before getting into his car, almost as if he was checking to see if anyone was watching him. Kate's heart began to pound as she started her car and followed him at a distance. William drove across town to a part of the city Kate rarely visited. He pulled into the parking lot of a small Italian restaurant called Marco's. Kate parked behind a large SUV where she could see the restaurant entrance without being seen. William sat in his car for a few minutes, checking his hair in the mirror and adjusting his tie. Then he got out and walked toward the restaurant entrance. Just before he went inside, Kate saw him smile in a way she hadn't seen in months. Genuine, excited, happy. Kate's hands were shaking as she called her sister Emma. "I followed him," she whispered into the phone. "Kate, where are you?" Emma asked, alarmed. "I'm sitting outside a restaurant watching my husband." Kate's voice cracked. "Emma, I think he's meeting someone. The way he looked before he went inside. He looked happier than he's been at home in months." "Oh, Kate," Emma said softly. "Do you want me to come get you?" "No. I need to see this through." Kate wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. "I need to know for sure." For the next hour, Kate sat in her car watching the restaurant entrance. She thought about all the signs she had ignored, all the times she had made excuses for William's behavior. She thought about their wedding day, when they had been so sure their love could overcome anything. Finally, the restaurant door opened. William walked out, but he wasn't alone. Next to him was a woman Kate had never seen before. She was tall and elegant, with dark hair and a bright smile. She was beautiful in a way that made Kate suddenly aware of her own appearance. Her old jeans, her hair that she hadn't styled properly that morning, the dark circles under her eyes from not sleeping. Kate watched as William and the woman stood close together outside the restaurant. They were talking and laughing, and Kate could see the easy intimacy between them. It was the way William used to look at her. Then William did something that made Kate's world stop. He reached out and tucked a strand of the woman's hair behind her ear, the same gentle gesture he had done to Kate 1,000 times during their marriage. The woman smiled up at him, and William leaned down and kissed her. It wasn't a quick, friendly kiss. It was the kind of kiss that spoke of familiarity, of affection, of something that had been building for a while. Kate sat frozen in her car, watching her husband kiss another woman in broad daylight. The woman said something that made William laugh, and he put his arm around her waist as they walked toward a silver car Kate didn't recognize. As they drove away in opposite directions, Kate remained sitting in the parking lot, unable to move. The truth she had been afraid to face was now undeniable. William was having an affair. She thought about all the nights he had come home late, claiming to be tired from work. All the mornings he had left early, dressed up and smelling like cologne. All the times he had been distant and distracted, physically present but emotionally somewhere else entirely. Kate finally started her car and drove home in a daze. She walked through her front door and stood in the living room that she and William had decorated together, looking at their wedding photos on the mantel, their shared books on the shelves, all the evidence of the life they had built together. She sat down on their couch and cried harder than she had cried since she was a child, not just for the betrayal, but for the months of feeling like she was going crazy, doubting her own instincts, making excuses for behavior that had hurt her deeply. When William came home that evening, Kate was sitting at the kitchen table with red, swollen eyes. "Hey, you okay? You look like you've been crying," William said, but Kate noticed he didn't come over to comfort her. "I'm fine," Kate lied, just like he had been lying to her. "Just a bad day." William nodded and started talking about his day at work, spinning more lies with the same casual tone he might use to discuss the weather. Kate listened to him describe meetings that hadn't happened and colleagues he hadn't seen, all while she sat there knowing exactly where he had been and who he had been with. That night, as William slept peacefully beside her, Kate stared at the ceiling and wondered how long this had been going on, how long he had been living this double life while she had been trying to save their marriage all by herself. For 3 days, Kate carried the weight of what she had seen. She went through the motions of normal life, making breakfast, teaching her students, grading papers, but inside, She felt like she was drowning. Every time William smiled at her or asked about her day, she wanted to scream that she knew the truth. On Saturday morning, William announced he had to go into the office to catch up on work. Kate watched him get dressed with the same care he had been taking for weeks now, and she knew he wasn't going to any office. "Will you be gone long?" she asked, testing him. "Probably most of the day. This project is really demanding," William said, adjusting his collar in the mirror. After he left, Kate called Emma. "Can you come over? I can't do this alone anymore." Emma arrived within an hour, taking one look at Kate's pale face and pulling her into a hug. "You look terrible. Have you been sleeping at all?" Kate told her everything, following William, seeing him with the other woman, the lies he continued to tell every single day. Emma listened with growing anger. "Kate, you can't keep living like this. You need to confront him," Emma said firmly. "What if I'm wrong? What if there's some explanation?" Kate asked, even though she knew she wasn't wrong. "You saw them kiss. You've been living with his lies for months. There's no other explanation," Emma said gently but firmly. "You deserve better than this." That afternoon, while William was still out, Kate made a decision. She was going to look through his things more thoroughly. If she was going to confront him, she needed to be prepared for whatever lies he might tell. In William's home office, Kate opened his laptop. She had never snooped through his computer before, but their relationship was already broken. William had broken it the moment he decided to be unfaithful. It didn't take long to find what she was looking for. William's email was still open, and there were dozens of messages from someone named Sarah Miller. Kate's hands trembled as she opened the most recent one. "Can't wait to see you today. I've been thinking about our conversation yesterday about taking things to the next level. Maybe it's time we stopped hiding." Kate scrolled through more emails, each one like a knife in her heart. Messages about secret lunch dates, inside jokes, plans for weekend meetings. The emails went back 4 months. 4 months of lies. 4 months of William living a double life while Kate had been trying to figure out what was wrong with their marriage. One email made Kate feel physically sick. It was from William to Sarah. "Kate has been suspicious lately, asking questions about work and checking up on me. We might need to be more careful for a while." So William knew Kate suspected something, and instead of ending whatever this was, he had just gotten better at hiding it. Instead of talking to his wife, he had warned his lover that they needed to be more careful. Kate printed out several of the emails and put them in a folder. Then she went upstairs and packed a small bag, with clothes and toiletries. She couldn't stay in this house tonight, knowing what she knew, pretending everything was normal. She left a note on the kitchen counter. "Staying at Emma's tonight. We need to talk tomorrow. Kate." At Emma's apartment, Kate showed her sister the emails. Emma's face grew angrier with each message she read. 4 months, Kate. He's been lying to you for 4 months, Emma said. And look at this one. He's more worried about getting caught than he is about hurting you. That night, Kate lay awake on Emma's couch, thinking about her marriage and how it had slowly fallen apart without her realizing it. She thought about all the warning signs she had missed or ignored. She thought about the woman she had seen with William, how comfortable they had looked together, how natural. The next morning, Kate's phone rang. It was William. "Kate, where are you? I got your..." "No," he said. He sounded worried, but Kate wondered if it was worry about her or worry about what she might know. "I'm at Emma's. We do need to talk, William," Kate said, surprised by how calm her voice sounded. "About what? Is everything okay?" Kate almost laughed at the question. Nothing had been okay for months, and William had been the one making sure of that. "I'll be home at 2 o'clock. Please be there," she said and hung up. Kate spent the morning with Emma, going over what she wanted to say. Emma offered to come with her for moral support, but Kate knew this was something she had to do alone. At exactly 2 o'clock, Kate pulled into her driveway. William's car was there, and she could see him pacing back and forth in front of the living room window. He looked nervous, which told Kate that some part of him knew this conversation was going to change everything. She walked to her front door with the folder of printed emails in her hand, her heart pounding, but her mind clear. For the first time in months, She was done living in confusion and doubt. She was done making excuses for William's behavior. It was time for the truth. Kate put her key in the lock, opened the door, and stepped inside to face whatever came next. William was standing in the hallway waiting for her, and the look on his face told her that he knew their marriage was about to change forever. "Kate, thank God you're home. I was so worried when I got your note," William said, moving toward her with his arms outstretched. Kate stepped back, holding up her hand to stop him. "Don't, William, just don't." The smile faded from William's face as he noticed the folder in Kate's hand and the cold distance in her eyes. "Kate, what's going on? You're scaring me." "I'm scaring you?" Kate laughed, but there was no humor in it. "William, I know." "Know what?" But even as he asked the question, Kate could see the fear creeping into his expression. Kate opened the folder and pulled out one of the printed emails. She held it up so William could see his own words. "I know about Sarah Miller. I know about the lunches, the lies, the 4 months you've been living a double life." William's face went completely white. He sank down onto the couch, his head in his hands. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. "How long have you known?" He finally asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "I saw you with her 3 days ago at Marco's restaurant. I watched you kiss her, William." Kate's voice was steady, but tears were starting to form in her eyes. "I sat in my car and watched my husband kiss another woman." William looked up at her with desperate eyes. "Kate, I can explain. It's not what you think." "It's not what I think?" Kate's voice rose. "I think my husband has been having an affair for 4 months while I've been going crazy wondering what was wrong with our marriage. I think you've been lying to me every single day, coming home and asking about my day like you care, when really you've been thinking about her." "I do care about you," William said, standing up and reaching for her again. "Kate, you have to believe me. I never meant for this to happen." Kate moved away from him again. "But it did happen. You made it happen. Every choice you made for 4 months led to this moment." William ran his hands through his hair, a gesture Kate had once found endearing but now just made her angry. "Sarah and I work on the same project. We started spending time together and I don't know. It just developed into something more." "Something more," Kate repeated. "Is that what you call it when you cheat on your wife?" "Don't say it like that," William pleaded. "You don't understand. Things between us haven't been good for a while. We barely talk anymore. We're like roommates." Kate stared at him in disbelief. "We barely talk? William, I've been trying to talk to you for months. You're the one who's been distant and distracted. You're the one who changed the subject every time I tried to have a real conversation, and now you're blaming me for the problems you caused?" "That's not what I meant," William said quickly. "I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying that our marriage was already struggling." "Our marriage was struggling because you were having an affair," Kate shouted, finally losing her composure. "You created problems between us so you could justify cheating. You made me feel like I was going crazy, like I was being paranoid and suspicious, when the whole time I was right to be worried." William was quiet for a moment, and Kate could see him thinking, probably trying to figure out what to say to make this better. But Kate knew there was nothing he could say that would fix this. "Do you love her?" Kate asked quietly. William looked at her with pain in his eyes. "Kate, just answer the question. Do you love her?" I don't know. Maybe. It's complicated." Kate felt something break inside her chest. She had been prepared for lies, for excuses, for denial, but she hadn't been prepared for William to admit that he might love someone else. "How is it complicated?" she asked, her voice barely audible. "I love you too, Kate. I never stopped loving you. But with Sarah, it's different. It's exciting and new, and she makes me feel like the person I used to be before." "Before what?" Kate demanded. "Before we got caught up in the routine of marriage. Before we stopped really seeing each other." Kate wiped the tears from her cheeks. "So this is my fault? I made you cheat because our marriage wasn't exciting enough for you?" "No, that's not what I'm saying," William said desperately. "I'm trying to explain how this happened. I never planned for this. I never wanted to hurt you." "But you did hurt me," Kate said. You've been hurting me for months, every time you lied. To me, every time you came home from being with her and pretended to be my loving husband. Every time you made me feel like there was something wrong with me for being suspicious. William started crying then, and Kate felt nothing. She had cried so many tears over the past few days that she had none left for his remorse. Kate, please, can we try to work through this? Can we go to counseling? I'll end things with Sarah right now today. I'll do whatever it takes to save our marriage. Kate looked at the man she had been married to for 8 years, the man she had loved and trusted completely, and realized she didn't know him at all. The William she had fallen in love with would never have done this. The William she had married would have talked to her if he was unhappy instead of finding comfort in another woman's arms. It's too late for that, William, she said softly. Don't say that, he begged. It's not too late. People work through this kind of thing all the time. Kate shook her head. You didn't just cheat on me. You lied to me every day for 4 months. You made me doubt myself, doubt my instincts, doubt my own sanity. You chose her over me every single day, and the only reason you want to work things out now is because you got caught. She walked toward the stairs, planning to pack more of her belongings. I'm going to stay with Emma while I figure out what comes next. Kate, please don't leave. We can fix this, William called after her. Kate stopped and turned back to look at him one more time. The William I married would never have broken our marriage this badly. I don't know who you are anymore, and I don't think you do either. 3 weeks later, Kate was sitting in her lawyer's office signing papers she never thought she would have to sign. The divorce proceedings were moving quickly since William hadn't contested anything. He had moved out of their house and was staying in a hotel, giving Kate space to decide what she wanted to keep and what belonged to their shared past. Emma had been her constant support, helping her pack up 8 years of marriage into boxes. Some things were easy to divide. Clearly his books, clearly her clothes. But other things were harder. Their wedding china, the photos from their honeymoon, the furniture they had picked out together when they were young and hopeful. Have you heard from him at all? Emma asked as they wrapped Kate's grandmother's dishes in newspaper. He texts sometimes, asking how I'm doing, saying he's sorry, wanting to talk, Kate said. But there's nothing left to say. The hardest part hadn't been the legal aspects of divorce or even the logistics of separating their lives. The hardest part had been the nights when Kate lay awake missing the man she thought she had married. She missed their inside jokes, their lazy Sunday mornings, the way he used to make her laugh until her sides hurt. But then she would remember that the man she was missing might never have really existed. How long had William been capable of lying? So easily? How long had he been the kind of person who could look at his wife every day while betraying her trust? Kate had started seeing a therapist, trying to understand how she had missed the signs for so long, trying to figure out how to trust her own judgment again. Dr. Martinez had helped her see that William's deception wasn't a reflection of Kate's failure to be a good wife. It was a reflection of William's failure to be an honest husband. You couldn't have prevented this, Dr. Martinez had told her during their last session. You were being a loyal, trusting partner. William made his choices, and those choices had nothing to do with anything you did or didn't do. Now, as Kate finished packing up the last of her belongings, she felt something she hadn't expected to feel. Relief. For months she had been living in confusion and doubt, making excuses for behavior that had hurt her deeply. Now, at least, she knew the truth. Her phone buzzed with a text message from William. Kate, I know you don't want to see me, but I have something I need to give you. Can I come by the house one last time? Kate stared at the message for a long moment, then typed back, Fine, but make it quick. An hour later, she heard William's car in the driveway. She watched through the window as he sat in his car for several minutes before getting out. He looked tired and older than she remembered. When he knocked on the door, Kate took a deep breath and opened it. Thank you for letting me come by, William said quietly. He was holding a small jewelry box in his hands. What is that? Kate asked. Your grandmother's ring, the one she left you. I found it in my sock drawer. I must have put it there when you took it off to do dishes one night and forgot about it. William held out the box. I thought you should have it back. Kate took the box, and their fingers brushed briefly. She felt nothing. No spark. No familiar warmth. Nothing that reminded her of the love they used to share. "Thank you," she said simply. William lingered on the doorstep, clearly wanting to say more. "Kate, I want you to know that I never meant for things to end this way." "I know you didn't mean to get caught," Kate replied. "That's not what I meant," William said, his eyes filling with tears. I never meant to hurt you this badly. I never meant to destroy what we had." Kate looked at him, really looked at him. For the first time in weeks, she could see genuine remorse in his face, real pain at what he had lost. But she also knew that his pain was mostly about the consequences of his actions, not about the actions themselves. "William, if I hadn't found out, how long would you have kept lying to me?" she asked. He was quiet for a long moment. "I don't know," he admitted. "That's what I thought," Kate said. "You're not sorry you had an affair. You're sorry you lost everything because of it. There's a difference." "I am sorry about the affair," William insisted. "Every day I wish I could take it back." "But you can't," Kate said. "And even if you could, I'll never be able to trust you again. Every time you were late from work, every time you got a text message, every time you said you were going somewhere, I would wonder if you were lying. That's no way to live." William nodded, tears falling down his cheeks. "I know. I ruined everything." For a moment, Kate felt sorry for him. She could see that he was genuinely suffering, that he had lost something precious, and was only now understanding what it had meant to him. But her sympathy was mixed with a clarity she hadn't had before. "You did ruin everything," she agreed. "But maybe that's what needed to happen. Maybe we both needed to learn who we really are when everything falls apart." "And who are you?" William asked. Kate thought about the question. 3 weeks ago, she would have said she was someone whose world had been destroyed. But now, standing in the doorway of the house they had shared, holding her grandmother's ring, she realized something had changed. "I'm someone who deserves better than what you gave me," she said quietly. "I'm someone who's going to be okay, even if it takes time." William nodded and started to turn away, then stopped. "Kate, are you going to be able to forgive me someday?" Kate considered the question. "Maybe. But forgiveness doesn't mean we get back together. Forgiveness doesn't erase what happened. It just means I'll stop carrying anger around with me." "I understand," William said. "For what it's worth, I hope you find someone who treats you the way you deserve to be treated." Kate watched him walk back to his car and drive away for the last time. Then she closed the door, opened the jewelry box, and slipped her grandmother's ring onto her finger. It felt like a promise to herself, a promise to never again doubt her own worth, to never again make excuses for someone who didn't value what they had with her. The house was quiet around her, packed boxes stacked in the living room, ready for her new beginning. Kate looked around one more time at the place where her marriage had lived and died, then picked up her purse and keys. She had a new apartment waiting for her across town, small but bright, with big windows that faced east toward the morning sun. Emma was meeting her there with pizza and wine to help her unpack and start fresh. As Kate locked the door behind her, she realized that for the first time in months, she wasn't afraid of what came next. The worst had already happened, and she had survived it. She had learned she was stronger than she had ever imagined, more resilient than she had given herself credit for. Walking to her car, Kate thought about the letter she had written, but never, sent to Sarah Miller. In it, she had wanted to tell the other woman that she could have William, but that she should know what kind of man she was getting involved with. Someone who could lie easily, who could compartmentalize his life so completely that he felt no guilt coming home to his wife after spending the afternoon with his lover. But Kate had decided not to send the letter. Sarah would figure out who William really was on her own, probably when he started being secretive with her the way he had been with Kate. Some lessons couldn't be taught. They had to be learned through experience. As she drove toward her new life, Kate rolled down the windows and let the spring air fill her car. She thought about her students who would be excited to hear about her new apartment. She thought about the vacation she was planning with Emma for the summer, just the two of them, somewhere neither of them had ever been. Most of all, she thought about the woman she was becoming, someone who trusted her instincts, someone who knew her own worth, someone who wouldn't settle for being treated as an option when she deserved to be someone's priority. Kate smiled as she pulled into the parking lot of her new building. The moving truck was already there, and she could see Emma waiting by the entrance with a bottle of champagne and a huge grin. "Ready to start over?" Emma called out as Kate got out of her car. Kate looked up at the windows of her new apartment, imagining the life she would build there. A life built on truth instead of lies, on self-respect instead of doubt, on hope instead of fear. "More than ready," Kate replied, and meant it with every fiber of her being. The next chapter of her life was waiting, and this time, she was the only author of her story.